Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to November's giveaway. I'm just going to give it a minute or so for us to get started. So it looks like we're working okay. So I'll just give it a minute and then we're good to go. Does seem to take a while just before it gets started as such. So looks like we're getting there now. So I hope everybody had a lovely weekend. I've been mainly preparing, doing even more at the moment. If I can show you. Getting some of me solid bristled floats all sorted. Just making the most of my time. So first comment from Buzzer. So loud and clear, Paul. Hope you're keeping well, Barry. And then one from Julian giving us the thumbs up. Hope you're keeping well, Julian. And then one from Ashley saying, A-OK. Hope you're keeping well, Ashley. Thank you all for your comments. And say, hope you're all keeping well. This one's from Jules. Evening, Paul. Hope you're keeping well, Julian. I will, that's on my list to do, Julian, find out where you can get your Invisitech line. So I haven't forgot. I will get it done. So this one's from John. He's on it with Danny straight away. Well done, Danny. You won again. Won again, kid. That's normally what we get. I hope you're keeping well, John and Danny. I hope you're both keeping well. And then this one's from Keith. Evening, Paul. Evening, Keith. Hope you are keeping well too. So it seems like we're up and running. So again, I'll just read out my little bit that I normally read out. I never want one of our boys or girls to ever get scammed. So if John or Danny, you've been called out, and if you subscribe via the website, you will get an email from us. So it'll be from support@matchfocus.co.uk, and just answer basically, you know, your address, safe place to leave, telephone number, etc. But if you think you've been called out and you subscribe via YouTube, you need to email us at the same address. So support@matchfocus.co.uk. Now, before I read out our winners, just a quick one that me and Andy are live tomorrow at 6:30, and we're going to be talking through winter silverfish, so prep, rigs and stuff. But if you've got any questions whatsoever, be around that topic or not, you can send your questions over beforehand and I'll make sure I read them out, or you can ask them live if you are tech savvy. So that's the first one. And also just mentioning that our Bomber Meat Masterclass is out now. So really wanted to do that. With that, we've touched on a lot of prep as well, which I think, you know, the rod setup's so important. Tying your quick stop and adding your silicone to it, because I know that can be a bit fiddly. So we've gone through all of that as well. So hope you really enjoy that. So I've had a couple of really nice comments at the moment. One of our lads is actually tying hooks up at the moment saying, you're costing me more hours of my life doing stupid prep. So it seems to have gone down well. So if you haven't watched that, definitely have a look. So we've got a few more up there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do our winners, and then I can go through all our questions, make sure I don't lose track. So I don't like giving away, well, I do like giving away it, but I'd much rather it be our Optimus Prime tracks, but we're in winter time now. So maybe next month we might be giving away a bit of Warburtons as well. Dobbing a bit of bread around, but for this month, again, keeping it sort of winter style as such. So the first ground bait we're going to give away is a kilo of our fine expander. Again, lovely all-round mix, especially this time of year. So a kilo of that, going to pop it on the floor. And then a kilo of pole mix. Again, lovely this time of the year if you're fishing for skimmers and carp, to be honest. It's all personal preference. I like this when there's colour in the water, so you can save it up, you know, for the warmer months. But this time of the year, personally, I'm going to move on to the next ground bait. But yeah, pole mix, great all-round mix, but more a summer ground bait for me personally. Moving on to our ground bait that I use for everything at this time of the year, which is Skimmers Dark. I keep it nice and simple, so no matter what I'm fishing for, skimmers, F1s, carp, this is the ground bait that I use, and I just use it as is. So we're going to give away 2 kilos of that to make sure you've got a bit of ground bait for the winter months. And then if you are doing a bit of carp fishing, but again, you can save it up for the summertime. Absolutely love this ground bait. Our coarse carp ground bait, really, really nice for a method and fishing in the edge when you're fishing for carp. So 1 kilo of that. So each of our 10 winners are going to win those 5 kilos of ground bait. So fingers crossed, I read your name out. So our first winner is Harry Oliver. Congratulations, Harry. Our second winner is Dylan Horbean. Hopefully I've said that right, Dylan, but congratulations. Our third winner is Daniel Dryhurst. Congratulations, Daniel. Our fourth winner is Paul Schaefer. Congratulations, Paul. Our fifth winner is Dan Pither. Congratulations, Dan. Again, I hope I've said that correctly. Our sixth winner is Sean Wood. Congratulations, Sean. Our seventh winner is Paul Rushton. Congratulations, Paul. Our eighth winner is Dave Machin. Congratulations, Dave. I think our next two are YouTube winners. So our ninth winner is Michael the Game. Great name, that is, Michael, and congratulations. And our 10th winner is Craig Middleton Fly Fishing. So congratulations, Craig. Might have to do a bit of fluff chucking myself. I've never done that, actually. So if you're listening, invite me out, get some bites. I don't think I'd have the patience for it, to be honest. You can't feed nothing. So that is me absolutely stuffed. So yeah, massive congratulations to our winners. Again, if you subscribe via the website, you'll get an email from us, and it'll be from support@matchfocus.co.uk. So check your junk and spam folders, because sometimes it don't always go in your inbox. But if you subscribe via YouTube, can you please email us at the same website address? I might have said that wrong, but the same email address. That's it. Getting better with this technology malarkey. So it is support@matchfocus.co.uk. And then just touching on it again, me and Andy are live tomorrow night at 6:30 p.m. So again, get your questions sent over. And that is about it. So I'm going to pop that there, and then we can go up. So where did we get to? So this one's from Lee. Need to decorate that garland. See, what did I call it? Bunting. And I got a rake of abuse for it. So, da-da, that is Joe's handiwork, Lee. Fruit cake. So I would show you around there, but Christmas is everywhere. So this one's from Robin. Good evening, P. Where's your Christmas pulley? Oh, she's mad for it. Absolutely mad for it, Robin. Nuts. To be honest, she has said to me she has taken it. She's not gone over the top. She would have Christmas 12 months of the year if she could, and she probably will do. So I said, when we can get a big enough place, you can have your own Christmas room. It can just be for Christmas. You can go in there whenever you want. I'm not really grumpy. It's just, yeah. To be fair, I'm here doing all my prep and stuff, so I get away with murder. So this one's from Paul. Afternoon, Paul. How are you? I hope you're keeping well. Really, really good here, Paul. Hope you are keeping well too. So where did we get to? Where's decorations? I'll try my best. So you'll be able to see my lights there. So, and I'm all plugged in. So it's over there, if you can see it. Christmas tree. I braved it then, didn't I? That could have all ended in disaster. And then our last one, this one's from Jay. Evening bagger, would you still use hard pellets this time of the year, and what floats would you use for it? So definitely. We went to a place called, where did we go to? Holly Farm. And there was loads of little tiny roach in there, and it's a live match, so I'm not going to spoil it. But yeah, that was definitely a venue to still fish with hard pellets. Float wise, what would I pick? all depends how deep it is, but I would probably opt for the floats that I'm using at the moment. I just think they're perfect for this time of the year. So what it is, that is a 1.5mm solid bristled Maggie from RW Floats, and then it just depends on how deep it is. So they sell them from 4x12 up to 4x16. If I was going somewhere where it was deeper than that, what float would I use? I'd probably opt for a carbon chimp. So again, it's made by RW. Don't know if I've got any. So probably with that. So if you give me a second, Jay, I will find it because I know I've got some. So, make sure I don't knock everything over. So they sell two versions of this. They sell a solid bristled one and a 2mm hollow. So I would just again opt for the solid bristled version, Jay. But that's what they're called, a carbon chim, and they sell them from. I've got some 0.4s here, but I don't know if Rich and I ever got round to putting them on the site, but like a 0.6 all the way up to, I'm sure it's 2 grams. So again, if you was fishing a deep venue, then that'd be the float that I'd opt for. But I just feel like that 1.5mm solid bristle is just so nice in the winter time. Just get so much nicer, cleaner bite. So that's what I would be, that's what I'd opt for, Joe. So this one's from Andy. Hi Paul, looking well. Hope you're keeping well, Andy. Yeah, really good here. To be honest, I've just been spending my time sorting out the stuff ready for the warmer months. So this one is from Dave Brown Jr. Hi Paul, have you been back in? Where have you been going? So sort of just touched on that, to be honest. When did I go last? I went last weekend. That match report will be out tomorrow. So I went last weekend to Tunnel on the teams of 4, drew a great peg, had a lovely day, £102, I want to say, just under 101.15, I think I had a lovely day. Peg 2 on extension, caught cross on pellets, in the edge with skimmers dark and maggots, that was good. And then I caught well on maggot shallow, so we got a bit of fishing in for that. So hopefully you enjoy watching that. But this weekend I didn't go because I had the teams of 4 and the weather looked dodgy. So biggest thing for me is it's so busy in the warmer months. So really from April through till the end of October, it is just manic. So everyone thinks, oh, you've already got loads of prep. But to be honest, at this time of the year when there's not an awful lot going on, it's so busy through those months, I just try and spend my time going through like my hook boxes. So let me see if I can grab it so I can show you. So this was my job on the weekend. So I just like going through and basically some stuff you have forever and it just gets messy, you know, you don't know how long you've had stuff for. So what I do is break a lot of it down. I probably shouldn't, to be honest, because it's good enough. But like these are my bayonets that I've done the weekend. So like a 10QM1, and you'll be able to see there, if I can show you. So like some 6-inch, 8-inch, 10-inch, and then my 12-inch ones, if I can get it in on the camera there, my 12-inch ones. So literally just gone through my hook box, cleaned it all out. A lot of my hooks I actually keep. So all I do is cut the line off. If you these pair of pliers that I use from, where did I get them from? It was Hobbycraft. So they're really, really nice. So just put the hook in there and then with a lighter, I just melt the line. And because all of the hooks are like Teflon coated, they last forever. And I just want to tidy everything up so I'm prepared for when them months come. So rather than going out and struggling throughout the winter time when the fishing's, it can be okay, don't get me wrong. I've had some lovely matches leading up to it. But rather going for just for the sake of going, because that's what it is we do, I'd rather spend my time getting all my stuff up together. And then when them warmer months come, I can just be out because a lot of it's filming as well now. it's just one less thing for me to worry about. So always go, you know, spend a little bit of time over the winter, just literally tidying all my stuff up. Say at the moment, but literally what I've been doing today is just sorting out all of me solid bristled maggies. So just cleaning them all up, because I paint them, you know, just scraping the paint off, giving them a new coat of paint, and then retying them up. So again, it's all sorted. Like, I over prepare, but that's the way I've always been. I sort of enjoy doing it, to be honest. But biggest thing for me is over the winter time is just revamping all my stuff, so that when it does come the manic season, I'm already prepared. So as mad as it sounds, I've started even tying like my overshotted hook clamps, so like longer hook clamps, 16 Super LWGs, my bake bands, again, just so that when those months come, I haven't got to worry, oh no, I've got no gear, I've got no rigs, got no hooks, and I just know it's all done fresh. And say I'm ready for when you want to be out all of the time. So that's where I've been going. But say, if you've been out, Dave, hope you've been catching plenty. So this one's from Robert. Evening, Paul. Evening, Robert. Hope you're keeping well. Won't be too long, and we'll be say back at Tunnel on one of the festivals. It definitely seemed to come around really, really quick. So this one's from Robert. Which hydro elastic for carb up to 8 kilo and F1 venue up to 8 foot deep? 8 kilo. What's that? £20? Bloody hell, that's big. And F1s. I'd say at this time of the year, Robert, I used to do a hell of a lot of that at Gold, and there's some F1s there. It was an open water venue, but throughout the winter months, more often than not, I'd use yellow hydro, because one, they don't fight, and a lot of the time they don't even know they're hooked. Whereas when you hook them and you're actually fishing for them, and even using like grey or black, and you hook them, they do pull a bit. You'd be amazed that you don't get broke that often. Again, if you fish any, I know you obviously in Holland and it's different over there, but if you do any silverfish fishing, which is very popular over here in the winter time, the amount of carp that you get out in the winter when you're fishing literally 08 hook clamps, solid elastics, or even say yellow hydro, you hook them and you just, it's amazing. Your top kit feels like it's going to break before your hook clamp gives. They don't fight as hard. So even though you think, oh yeah, they're big old fish, you don't need really, really strong elastic, if that makes sense. It all depends on, can they swim off and break you somewhere? But what you've got to remember though with your elastic is, if you are going to fish a heavier elastic, so say with like yellow hydro, I would normally, when I went to Gold, I would fish 010 and a 16 F1 pellet hook or an 18 F1 pellet hook with double mag hooks. I'm mainly fishing for skimmers and an odd carp and an odd big F1 as well. But then if there was some carp in my peg, I'd still use yellow hydro, but I would use 012 and a 20 Super LWG, or 014 and an 18 Super LWG, but I still use yellow hydro, because when you hook them, they just sort of just swim off out. It's not like, oh my gosh, and it's locking you out. You just hook them, they just swim out your peg, you just shit back. Say it's like it don't even know it's hooked, and you're just gently playing them, and more often than not there, because you've got the depth underneath you, they're just plodding around, and then eventually it pops up, and say they're massive fish there as well. So that's the biggest thing I would say is, if you feel like you're going to get broke, as in it can swim off and snap you somewhere or snag you, then you need a heavier elastic, but then you have to beef up, you know, your terminal tackle. But if you're just hooking them in this open water venue where there's nowhere where it can basically snap you, then try using that real light elastic. It's amazing, say, how many of these great big ones you get out. And over here in this country, in England, they have loads of silverfish matches at brilliant, you know, commercial venues like the Glebe, Meadowlands, and it's amazing how many carp you hook, and you don't want to be playing it, so you're like, come here, and it's amazing how many you get out on light elastic and light hook clamps. So give that a try, Robert, and keep me updated with how it's going as well. So this is where, so in Holland, they do still fight a lot, probably not cold enough, sadly, no silverfish fishing over here. So I'd probably opt for, it's 8 foot, I'd probably opt for white hydro if they're still pulling a little bit, because it will become a point where you'll put it in you know, and say this weekend, if it's mild, if it's carried on being mild, then it might be fine this weekend, but you'll soon find that it'll only be a couple of weeks and then they stop fighting. So then, as long as, well, that's the nice thing with hydro, just take your bead off, pull your elastic back through, wrap it up. If you've done it in a long kit, you can save it for when it warms up. But it's difficult, Robert, to be honest, to say this is exactly what I'd use when I've not been there. But that's what I would. If it was me, I think white. I just think you can't go wrong with that, especially in that depth. And you will get a few months out, well, maybe a month out of it, and then you will want to drop down. So, say just have a play around with it and say keep me updated with how it's going. So this one's from Andrew Pearson's. Hi Paul, why is bloodworm banned for most fisheries? I think I'll be honest when I say this, Andrew. I think it's more of an angler thing rather than a, you know, it's bad for the fish, or I think it's more of an angler. I used to do a hell of a lot of that at Gold, and the downside with bloodworm, and I had this conversation earlier actually with one of our lads. The problem is with bloodworm is you can get it readily available now. You know, you can get it delivered to you. So the last few times I used it, again, it had been a long time since I was using it week in, week out. Again, when I fished at Gold, back in sort of like the Dorking days, before I was even in the Dorking team. And it's an unbelievable bait. It's brilliant, but it requires a lot of work. So what I found, again, I fish with Will a lot. The most important thing when you're fishing with bloodworm that we found going to Gold was with your hook bait. So your bloodworm and your joker, they're totally different in the way that you keep them. So with your bloodworm, you want to keep it in basically clean water in the fridge. Whereas with your joker, the best way I found to keep it was to have a big, well, I had an old fish tank, but any big bucket, you know, like a big, almost mixing rubbish bucket, that would be the best thing. Have an air stone in it, so from like a pond, an air out stone, and you wanted horse manure, and chuck that in the bucket with water so that basically the water's polluted. Chuck your joker in that and leave it outside and just let it bubble away. And you have unbelievably strong hook bait, and it gets better with age. The darker it goes, the stronger it is. So when you're hooking it, it's just wriggling like mad. Whereas when you buy your joker, and again, a lot of the time now, I think when I was doing it, it might have changed a little bit, but you've got Russian joker, which is very small, hardly moves. That's normally what you get when you buy joker. But you used to be able to get joker, and I'm sure it was Polish joker, and it was a lot bigger and livelier, and that was the one that you wanted for your hook. So if you can imagine, you've got bloodworm, that you bought some bloodworm. Again, you can buy neat bloodworm. What I was going to say, the last few times I'd done it, I just ordered it from Taffy, and the bloodworm was the best bloodworm, I'll be honest, that I've ever had. Like, he scrapes it, and when you order it, you want to order it neat. You don't want it in peat, because that stuff kills it. You want it on its own. And I'm not going to say it's expensive, because initially the setup cost of it, you know, you want a few tanks and bits and bobs and riddles and stuff, but you've got to do it every day, you know, riddle your bloodworm off. So when obviously I was decorating, I'd get up early, I'd riddle it off in the morning, go to work, come back home, I'd riddle it again. And it was so important to keep on top of your hook bait, because the longer you had it, the stronger it was. And the biggest thing is, when you hooked it, it was still lively, it was still wriggling like mad. And what we found, the key was what you fed. You wanted like 2-week-old joker that you kept in lean. So one, the biggest thing with joker is it stinks like cat's stuff. And when you put it in lean, it slows it right up. So the biggest thing is, you've got joker, it's still alive, but it's hardly moving. And once you kept it in lean for a week or two, and then you fed it, so you can imagine on the bottom, you've got this like joker that's very, very inactive. It's great for bigger fish as well when you know, put some casters in with it. But the key was when you hook bait, you hook in stuff that's so strong. When you put it down, you know, fishing off bottom normally to start with, and then on the bottom later on, your hook bait just stood out like a sore thumb, and they just target it. Whereas you can imagine, you know, Andrew, just say you've been at work all week, you ain't got time for it, and you you're going to do it, and maybe you might have one match doing it. You're not going to have like, you know, a whole winter worth of doing it. To go through all of that hassle of buying your bait, keeping it, riddling it, you can't just buy your bait and go fishing with it and sort of be the same as anyone else. So it's such a shame, because when you do it, I always feel like the best person, the one that's practiced the most, the one that's put the most effort into it, deserves to win. You know, if someone's putting more effort in than somebody else, they deserve to do better. But in fishing, it don't always work like that. Regarding, you've got the, like, you know, the mixture, obviously Monday to Friday. I know what it was like when I was decorating. I made the time, but I was a single bloke, you know, it was me and Joe. I ain't got kids, so I can have that time. But if you've got a busy job and a busy family life, you ain't got time to be able to do it also. That's what I would say, Andrew. The biggest thing is quite involved. It's not just something you can just buy and sort of forget about, more so your hook bait. And I think that's the reason why it's banned more often than not. We had some matches at Gold where when bloodworm was allowed, you'd only have a handful of people there, because everyone, almost barring myself, thought, well, you ain't going to beat Will doing it. The reality is, it doesn't matter what bait he's got, you're going to struggle to beat him anyway. It doesn't matter if it's bloodworm or maggots and ground bait. When someone's very, very good at something, they're just very good. I just feel like with bloodworm, it just does put a lot of people off. And if you're not experienced with it, like if I went and done it now, I've still got my riddles. You know, I've got a rough idea of keeping it. So it's planning well in advance. So if, you know, let's just say in a month's time, I was going somewhere and I wanted to be able to fish with bloodworm and joker, then what I would probably do, I'd speak to Taffy, find out if I can get some hook joker and some neat bloodworm. I'd order that, keep it, look after it, because it is hassle, but it's worth it. Difference is unbelievable. You hook bloodworm, and when you get neat bloodworm, it's still okay, but you hook it and it's sort of moving, but it's obviously it's got a nail attached to it. Do you know what I mean? It's soft skin. You've taken it out of its natural environment. Whereas when you keep it, it just gets harder and harder and harder. And when you hook old bloodworm that you've kept, you hook it, and it's like it ain't even got a hook in it. It's just trying to wriggle off the hook. And the difference it makes, say, is unbelievable. And then I buy me feed bait probably 2 weeks before I wanted it. Get it, dead easy to keep. Just riddle some, you know, measure it out. So you've got like 250 mil of joker, 250 mil of damp lean. Open your newspaper, put your damp lean in it, stir it around, fold it back up, chuck it in the garage, done. You ain't got to do anything to it. It's just more slowing it down a little bit. But yeah, say it's a great bait, but I just feel like it's more the anglers that have got I'm not interested. And when you get a few people do that, and say, I think the big difference now is there is so many venues, anglers are just going to vote with their feet. So you've got places where, like Hallcroft's a great example, they get a massive following there. But when you look at the people that fish there, a lot of them fish to international rules, so they want to go and do that. But for your average person to go and do it, it is quite involved. So that's why I feel like a lot of the time it's banned. It's not, you know, it's one, if not the best fishing bait. It's just a lot of anglers just think it is very involved, and I understand that point of view. So I think that's probably more reason why it's banned than anything else, Andrew. But if you've never done it, give it a go. Say it's unbelievable. This one's from Stuart. Evening, Paul. Evening, Stuart. Hope you're keeping well. So this one's from Rog. No, this one's from Phil, giving Roger some grief. I just love it, these lot. So, evening, Rog. Hope you're keeping well. Roger had another mint result weekend. So, this one's from Robert. Thanks, mate. I invite you to come over. It's a bit too far. If it was closer, Robert, I definitely would. I'm saying that at some point. I'm sure I'll be going over. But yeah, keep me updated with how it's going, Rob. So this one's from James. Evening, Paul. Evening, James. Hope you're keeping well. So, what's this one? Joe's been putting more decks up, mate. It's mad for it, honestly. Absolutely loves it. It's a good thing. A good thing. This one's from Darren. Evening, Paul. Enjoy the videos. Glad you're enjoying them, Darren, and I hope you are keeping well. So where are we now? So this one's from Rob. You're right, Rob. Hi, Paul. Hope all is well. All good here. Hope you are keeping well, Rob. Either now or tomorrow with Andy, could you go through your floats for winter? As I know you will have changed to solid bristles. Cheers, buddy. See you at Tunnel Barn Farm soon. Yes, I definitely will. With my floats, Robert, we'll definitely go over it tomorrow. But the float that I like is this solid bristled 1.5 mil maggies for a sort of our style of fishing. But I know that Andy uses like a guru silverfish pattern, so it's definitely well worth speaking to him. I can ask that question tomorrow because I know they've done sort of a Gloucester style float as well. So we'll definitely touch on that tomorrow for you. So this one's from Robert. Smear in the silverfish dark slot in your pole pots works great up to 4 foot deep venues, but do you have a trick for deeper venues to give you an edge to try and get an odd bite when it's really hard? I'd probably do the same thing, Robert. I probably would just say, rather than using like a small little fast release pot, I'd probably just use the medium version. So where you're going, say if it's 8 foot deep, you might find you just have to feed a little bit more of it, just because you're going to lose a little bit more on the way down. But that's not to say it wouldn't work. You know, what's difficult is if I was going to that venue all of the time, you'd have more confidence in doing and fishing like that because you tap some bait and you're going to get bites doing it. But I don't fish venues like that are that deep, and more often than not, when you go to that style of venue, but then where you're saying is 8 foot deep, I'd probably just feed a little bit more bait at the start. And I know what you said to me before about where you go. Sometimes there's so many of these little blips in there, but the only venue that I can really relate to where you're going is Gold, because it's similar sort of depth, but feeding a bit more ground bait at the start and then loose feeding maggots, but fishing pasture bait seemed really good there. But there it was more you fishing for skimmers and then late on carp, and then the carp and the F1s you'll always catch them right on top of your bait, but the bream, they always tend to sit past your bait, so you might not want to feed as much bait if it's just F1s and carp. So maybe at the start, if you're not getting bites, just feed like a little bit more. So maybe like that much in your big pot at the start with like 30 maggots in it. Feed that depending on where you're starting. But again, when I used to go to Gold, what was weird there, because it was so clear, you had to feed all your bait at the start, ground bait wise, and then loose feed maggots, which was best for the skimmers. And I always wanted to fish like that because when you could catch doing that, it was so much easier to be able to catch a bigger weight because you didn't have to worry about topping up. But when you had a lot of rain, it'd almost go this sort of like tea colour, you know, like anyway, as soon as the water rises, you get more colour in it. But then using like a medium guru pot and just smearing a bit of that in and banging it in and sitting and waiting with a hook bait, that worked really well there. It just wasn't as deep. So I can't see why it wouldn't work. It might just be a case of working out your pot size regarding how much, you know, you might have to feed a little bit more rather than the small little fast release pot or the little small pot with, you know, the sprinkle lid with the 3 holes. You might just have to step up to a medium version, but definitely give it a go. I just think it's the best way of feeding because you've got that attraction. It's dead soft, you're not feeding a lot, and you just got a hook bait over it. So definitely give it a go. So this one's from James. Evening, Paul. Evening, James. Hope you're keeping well. This one is from Sammy. Spray and pray. It's what we need, Sam. It's just got no elastic in it. That's what I need in wintertime. I need that in my hand so I feel like, and I can't feed. That's what. That's definitely what I'm going to need if we're going to get good team points. So replying to Sam, Caster's son. Oh, definitely. So our last one, this one is from Stuart. Did you receive the hook size? Yes, I did. So again, Stuart sent me a few hooks to give them a try, these Camisam ones. And funnily enough, Stuart, Phil Canning gave me some as well. So I've heard great things about them. And yes, I'm definitely going to give them a go. Say, Phil's bang on it. He knows the script, and don't well, I can't think of many people that win as much and as regularly as Phil does, and he thinks they're brilliant. So I'm definitely going to give them a go, Stuart, and I will keep you updated with how I'm getting on. So that's our last one, and thank you ever so much for sending them, Stuart. I really appreciate it. So that is this month's giveaway. If you're out this weekend, I hope you catch plenty, and I will see you all the next time I'm out on the bank. Have a lovely evening.